Hello, my friends. I'm back again with another conversation with a very important influencer in our world who's written a new book. And here is the book. It's called A New Story of Wholeness, an experiential guide for connecting the human family. I was privileged to write the afterword to this book. So thank you for joining me. Thank you so much, Robert, for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Deepak. It's great to be with you. And thank you for the afterword.
The wholeness principle. And that basically suggests that anything that we experience as separate is actually an impermanent pattern of behavior of the whole. Like I look at anything, for example, my own body, and I look at individual organs and cells. They all seem to be doing different things, but they're entangled in the wholeness that we call the body. And the same thing applies to the entire universe, that what we call force fields, gravity, atoms, molecules are actually modes of knowing and experience, where every experience is entangled with every other experience in this formless, infinite background of beingness. Am I kind of translating that accurately?
Yeah, definitely. That's where the and how the wholeness principle comes in, which says that reality is one and all of creation is a whole. So if we understand wholeness in that way, that reality is one and that all of creation is a whole, and we all also understand the first two, we can put those three together and end up with sort of a meta principle of consciousness evolves toward wholeness. Your afterword is so perfect when you say wholeness is what we are. That's what the book comes down to. And I try to illustrate throughout the book as well that wholeness is all there is. And I'll just take a minute here to share a short story of which we could think of as a storyteller's history of the world, which illustrates this as well. There was a time when people gathered to share stories that embodied the values and principles they lived by. These stories held the community together and gave them a shared purpose. They were unitive narratives, essential to their individual and collective well-being. Then there came a time when communities expanded, spread out, became more diverse, and experienced conflict and disorder. Out of this discord emerged divisive narratives that maintained separation. Today, as we approach a consciousness of global integration, a new story of our wholeness is needed to frame this interconnectedness. It's time to come together again through unitive narratives to share our own stories of living into wholeness. So that's a quick storyteller's view of the how stories evolved over the millennia, and nothing may be more important right now than a healing vision that guides us toward wholeness. So that's where A New Story of Wholeness comes in, by decoding that pattern hidden within the structure of story itself. And of course, that's all based on not only the work of Joseph Campbell and mythology and Evelyn Underhill and mysticism and others, but it also goes way back to the Hermetic principle of as above, so below, all things accomplishing the miracles of the one thing. And even Plato, who gave us a vision of this wholeness as well. He said, perhaps there is a pattern set up in the heavens for one who desires to see it, and having seen it, to find one in himself. So that's what this book really provides, is the roadmap for being able to see that pattern within ourselves and how we live it out through our life experiences. So it's basically about a core pattern of transformation that keeps us moving along a trajectory intended to guide us from separation to union or wholeness. And that pattern is evident in the basic structure of story too, which is not just beginning, middle, and end, but in a much deeper and more meaningful level, beginning, muddle, and resolution. Because it's the muddles or challenges we face that represent the core of the pattern that brings the process of transformation to its completion or resolution. So when we merge all these ways of knowing together, we come up with what I've described there as the three parts of call to wholeness, path of purification, and return to wholeness.
The word wholeness is related to the word healing. And so healing is the return of the memory of wholeness. Health, healing, wholeness are all a holy experience where the shattered pieces of our soul come back together as the wholeness of all existence. So please pick up this book. You'll find it very interesting and very useful, and it could just change your life. The book also has a foreword by one of my favorite people in the world, Jean Houston, and endorsements by many other luminaries in the field of consciousness and deeper understanding of what we call reality. So thank you very much for joining me, Robert. I wish you all success. And I think this book is going to have a big impact on anyone who's fortunate enough to pick it up and read it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.